a robust nationwide competitive process will now take place to select and elect a new leader. Justin Trudeau speaking there and announcing his resignation, clearly saying that he discussed the matter with his family and it was not possible for him to continue any further. And he has resigned as the Prime Minister of Canada and also as the chief of his party. And now another uh, process will set into motion for the election of a new leader that can lead the party. Remember, Justin Trudeau had turned very unpopular among his own party men and his colleagues who had openly expressed and said that Justin Trudeau is not in control and leading the party and the country in the way he should. And that's precisely the reason he was facing a lot of opposition back home that contributed and led him to finally take that call and to make that announcement that he's going to resign. There were already reports that he will make that announcement, and finally, that announcement has come in. He has said that he is resigning as the prime minister as the prime minister of Canada and also as the chief of his party. At this point in time, we're joined by Kushal Mehra, uh, who has been following and tracking and reporting the developments in Canada. Uh, and he knows the subject like the back of his hand. Kushal, we have discussed this matter many times in the past. Finally, Justin Trudeau has resigned. You have been emphasizing that he is becoming very unpopular. Did that unpopularity finally escalate so much that he was left with no other option but to take this call and to resign in the end, which was quite anticipated and expected?
Thanks for inviting me, Zafar. I apologize for my camera situation. I'm
Perfectly
recording this
fine.
from a cell phone.
That's perfectly fine.
I mean, he's been unpopular for now. I think about a year and a half, 2 years. His popularity has not been there, but he was just waltzing it through as far as his situation is concerned. What has come to the foray now is, I think Trump came to power, and the tariff threat became too untenable. And also, I think in the last 6 to 8 months, the India crisis really did a number on him. And the way he handled the entire India problem, right, was not really, it did not leave him any scope to maneuver. But honestly, if you listen to his speech very carefully, what did he start his speech with? The first thing he says in his speech is, I have prorogued the parliament till March 24th. That's what, if I
Yes,
remember the date correctly. He
yes,
says he's prorogued the parliament. So proroguing the parliament in Canada basically means an adjournment in Indian parliamentary system. It's sort of an adjournment. So basically, he shut government down till March 24th. That means all the questions regarding the foreign interference committee report, everything is being buried. All the scandals, all the problems, everything that his government has done, everything has been buried now. So he doesn't have to answer to anyone. Point number two, Jagmeet Singh's pension was due if the government doesn't fall before the end of February. I think February 24th, if I remember the date. So now Jagmeet Singh is going to get his pension too. So that is point number two. So he's taken care of Jagmeet Singh, and that promise is done. So that deal has been honored. Now, point number three, again, a very important excerpt of the speech was that I have resigned, but I will be a caretaker prime minister until the party sorts its new leadership and decides who the next prime minister will be in the coming days. He never said how many weeks it's going to take. What if they're not able to sort it out, let's say till end of March? Anyways, the parliament is not in function. So this government continues that he's the caretaker prime minister for the next 3 months, anyways.
So what
Even
you're telling us that he's kept it open-ended. He's kept it
yeah,
vague,
it's open ended.
ambiguous. He has not been very
I
clear.
honestly refuse to believe. Yeah, I refuse to believe that this is actually Justin Trudeau has done a number on everyone. He can pretty much delay the Liberal Party leadership process through his machinations, and even by the time they get a new leader, there's no parliament. So if the parliament is convened after March, let's say in April, and there is a no confidence vote then, and the government falls, they again have to have an election. So we're going to have a summer election in Canada. I mean, that's something I've told you multiple times on the show, that I anticipate a summer election in Canada. It's going to be a summer election. So I think the Liberals pretty much got what they wanted. He could not have sustained this parliament, this prime ministership after the immigration crisis, after the economy tanking. I mean, the running joke is that the Canadian dollar has just shot up just with the news of his resignation. That's how unpopular he was, that the dollar shot up. The dollar was tanking. The news comes in, the dollar has shot up. So imagine, have you ever seen in the history of any leader how unpopular Justin Trudeau was? That by his news, the dollar just shoots up, the Canadian dollar. So I don't know how. See, the key question that needs to be discussed is how fast will the Liberals sort out their leader?
Yes,
I
yes.
really don't think it's going to
What
be
is
so
the
easy.
procedure? What is the procedure? He said that it will be a nationwide
Nationwide process. That
exercise.
means they might. Yeah, so they might go for primaries. If they go for primaries or whatever processes they try, it could be a multiple option process, right? So it depends on what they do. I really don't see anything coming out of this. Whatever I have seen, the main thing is Trudeau has once again managed the way to not answer the questions of the Canadians.
So
The
what you're
people of
telling is
Canada,
essentially he has saved himself from accountability. He has played a
yeah,
card. He has played a
yeah.
card where he has said that he is resigning, kept it open-ended, kept it very vague, just to save himself from accountability while he continues to be the caretaker prime minister.
Yeah, I mean, the key is how long is he going to be the caretaker prime minister? Everybody should be asking that question. The story is not that he's resigned. That was a given. The story is that he's going to be a caretaker prime minister. If he's going to
Right.
be a caretaker prime minister, for how long is he going to be a caretaker prime minister? See, he's really obsessed with the G7 bit, right? He wants to head the G7 thing. That G7 happens in June. So when are we going to have an election in Canada? If G7 is going to happen in June, who's going to be the Canadian Prime Minister heading it? That should be the question. It's such a mess. Or is G7 going to be transferred? Because if there is no stable government in Canada, then who's going to be heading the G7?
Right.
It's all of it is a mess. I think they're just going to go on waltzing around. They're going to because just ask yourself this question: if the Parliament convenes in April, the government falls, right? If the government falls, how do they conduct the G7 in June? These are valid questions, right? We should be asking ourselves. And who's going to
No,
be the prime
it
minister?
must have factored in all those things before making that announcement. It was anticipated. There were reports that he's going to make that announcement about his resignation, but truly before that, he must have factored in all those things, considered all those things, and then made this move.
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to find out what Telford and Co. have thought. I mean, Justin's team have thought, and we need to look at what Katie Telford and many others are thinking about.
Right.
And I think a lot of clarity will come in the next 10 days. Zafar, I think if you will wait for the next 10 days, you will see a lot of clarity. Who's doing whom, who's on whose side. Like if you look at the letter of MP Chandra Arya, an MP from Nepean, he had said, "I want Chrystia Freeland now to take over the leadership." So how many people are going to be backing Chrystia Freeland? So how many members of the Liberal caucus are going to back Chrystia Freeland? So and who's running the party now? Is Chrystia Freeland running the party, or is still Katie Telford is in control of the party? That's another question that needs to be asked. There are many questions that need to be asked. So all I can say, it's going to be a fun time to follow Canadian politics. If you're a political junkie, right, this is the best time. It's going to be so much fun.
Kushal,
There's going to be so much
Kushal,
news for us.
Kushal, there's been so much news in the last 1 year. We have done so many shows on Canada. You remember that. But now
Yeah,
I'm coming to the question of India. Do you think that card has really boomeranged on him? He tried to deflect all the problems to and focus on India, making India look like a big villain that was out to destroy Canada in one way or the other. He raised up the issue of Nijjar, stood up in the parliament and said that agents of the government of India are responsible for the killing of Nijjar. Then said that he made that statement based on intelligence inputs, not on any specific evidence. India has been saying, please share that evidence. But in the end, that really did not help. He had to go.
Well, he overplayed his hand. The Indian interference report and the Indian interference angle was basically to hide what's coming out in the real Hope Commission report. The Hope Commission report, the 11 members of parliament who are involved, um, the Chinese interference. If you remember, I take you back of the
Yes,
joint press conference
yes,
by
yes.
MP Kevin Wong and Sam
Yeah,
Cooper. And it's really the Chinese interference that was
yeah,
the real issue. And the
yeah,
Liberal Party wanted to whitewash it because I think they are worried that most of the MPs are Liberal MPs.
yeah.
Four names have been dropped by Sam Cooper, and that's the reason they needed a bogey. He
Hmm.
raised the India bogey, but the story of Justin Trudeau's prime ministership will be, uh, he tried to malign India, and in his process of maligning India, it cost him his prime ministership. So basically,
Right.
India got him fired.
No, but there were always, when we used to discuss, we said that was it Trudeau specific that he was in fact playing politics, or is the Canadian state, making that there was a narrative that was being peddled again and again. Do you think now with him resigning, there will be a change as far as relationship of Canada with other countries is concerned, particularly in the context of India?
The Indian relationship will take a long time to repair. I have maintained this on a very serious note for a while
Mm,
from my study of Canada and Canadian politics.
mm.
Khalistani influence on Canadian politics is disproportionate. Khalistanis, through multiple tactics of intimidation and threats, have the entire Canadian political system, you know, kind of messed up in multiple ways.
Right.
Justin Trudeau leaving is really not going to change a lot of things for the time being, until and unless there is a new government with a fresh mandate, and the Canadians then can ask them a lot of questions. Because an interim prime minister, at best, is going to be what? And 6 month, 7 month prime minister? At best. What's the point? That prime minister is not going to do anything. That prime minister is not going to be. Yes, you could say that prime minister. Listen, if you have off the record conversations with Canadian diplomats, they will be like, we want to solve the India issue. You can talk to anybody. Listen, if you're an old journalist who has connections, you can talk to Canadian leaders, Canadian diplomats, Canadian representatives, and they'll say, we want to solve this India issue, but we can't solve it because of the pressure from the top. You, this is a known thing. I'm not, revealing something out of this world. Oh my God, breaking news. Everybody wants to solve it. The Indians want to solve it. The Canadians want to solve it. The answer every time, given whether it's on the Indian side or the Canadian side, is that the top bosses in the Canadian side really don't want to solve it. Now, the question you need to ask is, why don't they want to solve it? The question's answer is simple. It's because of the Khalistani pressure. Now, will the new prime minister, first of all, will there be a new prime minister? Second of all, if there is a new prime minister, how much is this new prime minister beholden to the Khalistanis? See, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you. It depends on who is the prime minister. Then I can dig up on that prime minister's campaign history. Then I can dig up of how deeply involved that prime minister, that leader is with the Khalistanis, and we'll have to look at their records and all of that. Because right now it's like looking at the crystal ball. I can't really say how it's going to be, how influenced is that. Justin was right?
Right.
Yeah, it's from the days of Ujjal Dosanjh being forced to say a lot of unsavory things, and Ujjalji is such a nice, decent man, and for Ujjalji to say those harsh words about Justin Trudeau in an interview to the National Post says a lot. Listen, I've had the honor of meeting Ujjal Dosanjh, and I say honor with a lot of seriousness. He's one of the finest human beings you could meet, and for a man like Ujjal Dosanjh to use those words, you have to understand what kind of a personality Justin Trudeau is. And I don't know. I don't see any improvement of the Indo-Canadian relationship, at least for the next year or two. I really don't anticipate that. Maybe after Justin Trudeau is gone, one thing I'll agree with you, Zafar, the hostility from the Indian side might reduce. Right now, the hostility from the Indian side is really at its peak, and nobody wants to talk to Canada. Maybe with Justin Trudeau down, we could have the channels opened again. Maybe something could come, but under the Liberals, I honestly don't feel the Khalistani hold on the Liberals is just too much now. That party is far gone. Maybe when the Conservatives come to power, maybe something can be done, but nothing in the short run. I honestly don't believe Indo-Canadian relationships going to improve even one bit.
Right. But there can be a bit of a relaxation, a bit of a diffusion in the tension, in the sense that Justin Trudeau had led that campaign. He stood up in the parliament. It was very much Justin Trudeau leading that anti-India campaign on all levels. So we might see some change in that. But Kushal, when we were discussing India, Canada in the past, you said that it's across the board. Khalistanis have infiltrated all the
Yeah,
institutions everywhere. So obviously, one person going away will not change much, will it?
yeah, it won't. It won't. That is the whole point. That is why I'm saying I don't know who's going to be the prime minister. Once I know who's going to be the prime minister, then you have to study their campaign records, their attendance. Where did they go? Whom did they meet? How beholden they are to different groups. Who was funding their campaigns? Who was doing what? And these things can be dug up. It's not really that much of a big deal. These things are not that hard to dig up. As of now, I see no hope. I don't think the Canadian Indian situation is going to improve. I don't think the Khalistani hold on the Canadian political scenario is going to change. I don't think uh, any result is going to come out, because see, let's say even if the new prime minister coming in is there, but was the is the new prime minister also equally beholden to Chinese interference like Justin Trudeau allegedly was? You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What if the new person also is equally complicit in many ways, as we have discussed, we've heard on the in the case of Justin Trudeau allegedly. So it
Yeah.
depends. It depends. All of this is relative to who is selected. I think guesswork is pointless, but I can tell you my hunch is nothing's going to change.
Right. Kushal, we're already starting getting reactions from India. Abhishek Singhvi, you can see that tweet on the screen. Justin Trudeau's resignation is a much needed change for Canada and its global relations. His tenure was marked by foolish policies at domestic front and a soft stance on radical elements. We hope his exit paves the way for stronger, more respectful Indo-Canada relations. This is exactly what we're discussing, Kushal.
Yeah, again, I think Abhishek Manu Singhvi is hoping. My question remains the same. I mean, we can hope a lot of things, but what are hopes going to do, right? Uh, I really don't. I don't think the hope is going to solve anything for us. So the key question is who replaces him. Once we know
Yeah.
who replaces him, then we can have a more tangible answer. As of now, we hope a sensible person replaces him. We don't even know if it's going to be Krista Freeland, because if it's going to be Krista Freeland, give me this answer. She was with Trudeau, taking part in every single decision that Trudeau has taken. She was as party to it as anyone else. It's basically Trudeau tried to throw her under the bus to save his tenure, and she threw Trudeau under the bus by resigning.
Right.
So she did a number on Trudeau. So even if she's the prime minister, if it's Chrystia Freeland, how does it change the India Canada situation? She was as beholden as Justin Trudeau was. She was party to every single decision he took. She was his deputy for the longest time, one of the most powerful ministers in his government, allegedly powerful. So we don't know. That's why I'm saying it's pointless. It's pointless to think about this. I know a lot of Indians are tweeting, I hope this improves this. I was like, yeah, I mean, I hope India won the border Gavaskar trophy, but hope was not good enough. Right? We lost.
No, also Kushal, now they moved on so much, it will be so difficult to step back. Now, here is a Jagmeet is very interesting. Justin Trudeau let you down, has let you down over and over. He let you down on the cost of housing and groceries. He let you down on fixing healthcare. It doesn't matter who leads the Liberals, they don't deserve another chance. Conservatives are jumping at the opportunity to take from you and give more for CEOs. You'll pay the price of polytheist cuts, if you oppose callous conservative cuts, if you oppose the rich getting richer while everyone else falls further behind, stand with the NDP this time. You can have a government that works for you. Isn't it interesting, Kushal? This is a statement from Jagmeet Singh.
Listen, you should ask Jagmeet Singh why didn't he let the government down till now? I think
Right.
Jagmeet Singh should change his name to Pension Singh. See, he first was Sellout Singh. Then from Sellout Singh, here he became Pension Singh. So we should ask him why, if he's so honest, what happened to the Maserati? I think the perfect name is the Maserati Marxist is the perfect name for Jagmeet Singh. And nobody takes Jagmeet Singh seriously. I think even Jagmeet Singh doesn't take Jagmeet Singh seriously. And polls suggest that he's about to lose his seat too. So I think Jagmeet should worry about his own seat, about his own election, whether he's going to win this time or not. Jagmeet Singh again is as party to whatever has gone down, especially the immigration crisis, and time and again the largest human trafficking scandal in modern human history is what happened under the guise of immigration in Canada. Under the guise of immigration, we had humans trafficked, families destroyed, sexual trafficking, and Jagmeet Singh signed on every single Trudeau policy. So for him to sit here, pontificate about the resignation of Justin Trudeau is a joke. Jagmeet Singh is a disgrace. He has no locus standi, and he is as complicit in Justin Trudeau's crimes as anyone else. So, I mean, to him to write this letter is just a damn squib, is all I'm saying. He should have pulled the rug on this government a long time ago. He didn't care. He just wanted his pension. Who cares?
But Kushal, it may be too little too late. But if Justin Trudeau has helped him in that pension cause, why would he make this statement then?
It's politics. I mean, यार हमारे यहाँ पे कितने लीडर कड़ी निंदा करते हैं. ऐसे कड़ी निंदा तो बहुत लोग करते हैं. तो मैं बहुत कड़ी निंदा करता हूँ. Canadian politicians are also kadi ninda turtles, just like Indian politicians are kadi ninda turtles. I
Right.
mean, Aam Aadmi Party and Congress, right? They are fighting elections against each other in states, and then they were part of the India alliance. Like, what sense did that make? Like, there are so many. Like BJP is opposed to XYZ politics, and then in one municipal corporation in Maharashtra, they were also supporting some Muslim party also. So much for that. So politicians are like this everywhere in this world. So
Right.
why do we have expectations of morality and ethics from politicians? The design basic, I think wiring ही उनका chemical लोचा होता है political class का, उसका कुछ नहीं कर सकते.
No, but the writing was on the wall for a long time for Justin Trudeau. It was
Jafar, the writing was on the wall for 2 years. ये तो जगमीत सिंह की वजह से तो ये इतने दिन से चल रहा है. तो जगमीत सिंह को ट्रूडो को चलाने वाला जगमीत सिंह है. हम जगमीत सिंह को क्या सीरियसली लें?
No, but now it was very clear that he is going to step down. There were already reports that he's resigning.
Yeah, Jagmeet Singh had to pull the plug because he was like, अरे मैं अब इसको मैं नहीं support कर सकता. भाई तू चले जा. Jagmeet Singh must be calling him privately. भाई तू चले जाना मगर फरवरी एंड के बाद जाना मेरी पेंशन का कुछ करके जाना.
So politics, very interesting politics in Canada. We have kept a focus on India-Canada story for more than a year now, and I can tell you it's such an interesting politics that's taking place in Canada on this photo. The two leaders seem to be very happy and smiling at each other. Must not have been long ago. But clearly now Justin Trudeau gone. It was an interesting speech. It was a short speech. I can ask my producer to play it once again, then we can discuss it further.
And the fact is, despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed for months after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history. That's why this morning I advised the Governor-General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. throughout the course of my career. Any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process.
Right. You heard it again, Kushal. Short, brief. He said that he discussed it with his family, sort of a lump in the throat when he said that. And he didn't give many reasons. He said that the parliament was paralyzed and that's why he's stepping down and he's informed the president and now the process will start. A very carefully worded short statement.
So he's what I get from this speech is he ensured that he's the Prime Minister till March 24th at least.
Right.
That's what he's ensured.
Yeah. Because he's the caretaker.
Now he has to come up with a new scheme to make sure he's the Prime Minister till June for the G7. So basically he's bought 3 months time to think what he's supposed to do now.
Right. And obviously it will take a lot of time because he says that a countrywide process will have to take
so
place.
So countrywide process, what if they ask for primaries? Then in the primaries, anybody can rig the primaries of the Liberal elections. I have told you. For primaries, anybody can vote. आप जाके भी कर सकते हो. चले जाना, बोल देना खालिस्तानियों का आपकी टिकट ले ले. बोलना भाई मेरे को जाके वोट करना है लिबरल के प्राइमरी में. अगर प्राइमरी हुए तो anybody can vote liberal primaries में. Anybody. But membership is for free in the Liberal Party. Unlike the Conservatives where you have to pay some money, like a small amount to get the Conservative Party membership. For the Liberal Party, you don't have to pay anything. So if, I don't know, are they going to go for the primaries or just the Liberal Party caucus is going to discuss this? So if the Liberal Party caucus is going to discuss, so why are they doing a countrywide process? Like, what is this countrywide process? What did he mean by the countrywide process? Like, what exactly? See,
I think
he speaks
he meant that at all levels, as you were saying, at the lower levels, at the higher levels, it will be a elaborate sort of an exercise that will decide on
so elaborate exercises are meant for biding time, right? So because it's elaborate, we have to ask this. What if we have that moment? वो कौन सा था जो गांधी जी की फोटो के आगे वो कौन से समाजवादी वाले थे कि कौन थे जो एकदम इमोशनल रोना करके ऐसे एक्टिंग कर रहे थे. पता चले जस्टिन ट्रूडो के लिए भी थोड़ी एक्टिंग करने आ जाए. नहीं ट्रूडो जी आप नहीं जा सकते, आप हमारा दिल नहीं तोड़ सकते. क्या पता भाई कैनेडियंस ने भी थोड़ा बॉलीवुड देख लिया होगा तो उनको भी लगा होगा कि भाई हम भी थोड़ा कर लें. So like I said, it's too early. Just give it 10 days, Zafar. You will know where the country is going. The key is give it a few days and you will see what the Liberal Party is doing. As of now, Justin Trudeau will try his level best even after this. Or they know the leader right now and they have already decided. They're just telling him, "Tu ye kar le. We need till March. We'll announce the leader." Either they have decided the leader and are doing this, but I don't think so. They have decided the leader because now there will be a wild goose chase. And the key question, Zafar, everybody needs to ask. It's a sinking ship. Who would want to be the leader of a sinking ship? Tell me this. If you are in the position of a Liberal Party MP and you're looking at the polls where some polls indicate that they're winning 6 seats, they're down to 6 seats in a parliament. You want to take the leadership of a party that is a sinking ship. Why would anybody want to take it? You can't even do proper corruption in the next few months, becoming the Prime Minister, if you wanted to.
Kushal, if Justin Trudeau steps down, he has stepped down, will it help to revive the fortunes of Liberal Party? Will it help in
Not in the short-term future. How much? Okay. Let's say a new person comes in, they gain a few seats, like 5 seats, 10 seats. They're still losing the election in a landslide, which is why what's the point? That's my question. What's the point? If I was the leader, I was part of the Liberal Party setup, I would say let him be the fall guy. Let us have an election in May. Let the parliament reconvene in April, special session, no confidence vote. Let this government fall under his name. Then we go into election. What's the point? Otherwise, anybody who comes, Justin Trudeau will be like, मैं तो क्या करूं? मेरी पार्टी ने मेरे को धोखा दे दिया. He will go down and give that excuse. That's going to be. Yeah, anybody who takes over the Liberal Party leadership right now is basically joining a sinking ship. Anyone.
Right. There are also lots of reactions coming in. If there are some reactions that we can show on the screen, uh, there are lots of reactions coming within Canada. Obviously, Canada people in Canada must be trying to make sense of it, trying to understand what has happened.
So Canada is celebrating that he's gone.
Uh, Obviously, it was because he was very unpopular, and that there was no change in that. That the graph of unpopularity was just going down and down. Right, Kushal?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think, like I said, right? Somebody makes Justin Trudeau's food. I said it as a joke once on some interview. But वो बंदा भी उसके खाने में थूक के देता होगा यार उसको. He's that unpopular in the country. Like you go anywhere in Canada, like you just take his name and people he's he's that unpopular. Nobody likes him. Like I said, his own family. You remember that comedy thing which had happened with that Instagram star who had like 56 lakh followers on Instagram और उसको 112 वोट मिले महाराष्ट्र के इलेक्शन में. I think Justin Trudeau की वो हालत है इस समय.
No, but when an analysis is done in the end, because he was in charge of that country for a long time, what would be his biggest policy failure that will stand him out? That is one thing that's really rocked the boat.
Immigration. His biggest failure. The way he handled COVID, the way he handled the truckers' protest, people never forgave him. See, he was done once after the truckers' protest. His end was preordained. I mean, the way he muzzled the rights of average Canadians. After that, the way he destroyed the lives of average Canadians by just flooding immigrants in, flooding Canada with immigrants, destroying the real estate sector, and basically ruining the Canadian fabric and pretty much everything in Canada. He was done. He was done. Everybody knew he was done, and nothing's really going to change. Oh, look who's here. We have a Canadian.
We're doing a foreign interview.
Hi, Daniel. How are you doing? Good to have you. How are you doing? Why don't you sit with Kushal? Please sit with Kushal. Please have a seat.
He's
Take a
asking you,
seat.
you want to join?
Yeah,
you
please
can-
do join. Please take a seat, Daniel. It's a pleasure to see you here. Please sit. Wo- How do you see this massive development while you are in India? So much happening back home in your country.
Yeah, everyone's pretty psyched.
We don't have the mic, unfortunately. If you can come closer to Kushal, because the mic, it's the microphone phone is not catching the voice. Yeah, now say.
Okay, yeah, so I think everyone is pretty excited back in Canada. We are enjoying this. I'm getting text messages from friends. But I'm also like,
Unfortunately, we can't hear you. We can't hear
I'm
you.
sorry. I'm sorry.
We can't hear you.
All Daniel is saying, everybody in Canada is happy that Justin Trudeau is gone.
Right.
Yeah, and
Because
he's going to go and celebrate, and I would like to
no,
join the
Daniel,
celebration with him.
it would be great if you can join us somehow. I don't know how, if it is possible.
Oh, he
because
can't. I also have to go and join now. We're actually at a dinner party right now. I just got a call. I was like, okay, I'll come in for a bit.
Right. But in your final thoughts, Kushal, because we've seen, this is a major development. We talked a lot about it, but nevertheless, it is a major development. It will have implications. It is not uh, so usual that a prime minister steps down as the prime minister of that country and also steps down as the chief of his party. It will have implications in his country and elsewhere also. So, what are your final thoughts?
The final thoughts is the world finally has to get worried because everybody had the one guy. See, everybody had Justin Trudeau. So whenever leaders of other countries like Keir Starmer or anyone, or Albanese from Australia or anyone for that matter, would be asked questions from their electorate, they would say, well, we're not Justin Trudeau. We're better than him. Why do you dislike us so much? Every single world leader now needs to get worried that Justin Trudeau is gone. The excuse that we're not Justin Trudeau is over. So we need to find the new most hated leader in the world. Who that leader is the next discussion, because everybody had a consensus answer. Everybody disliked Trudeau and nobody took him seriously. So those are my closing thoughts.
Right. Will not let you go if you want to go or you have some time.
I have to leave. I'm really sorry. I have to leave now. I'm
We will,
actually at a friend's house.
yeah, yeah. Thanks so much for joining us, but we will get you back as soon as possible. You can
Thank you very
slip
much.
away right now, but we'll continue our focus on this story
Thank you.
even as Kushal leaves. The Just to recap for our viewers, the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, has a short while ago resigned, and he's also stepped down as the chief of the Liberal Party. There are reactions coming in. Let's play some.
Good day. Canadians desperate to turn the page on this dark chapter in our history might be relieved today that Justin Trudeau is finally leaving. But what has really changed? Every Liberal MP in power today and every potential Liberal leadership contender fighting for the top job helped Justin Trudeau break the country over the last 9 years. All Liberal politicians actively worked to pass into law the job-killing inflationary carbon tax, a tax that Carbon Tax Carney endorsed in his book. All supported a law quadrupling the tax over the next 5 years. All voted for or actively supported Trudeau's out-of-control spending, debt, and immigration. All passed Trudeau's housing policies that doubled the cost of homes. All Liberal politicians helped pass catch-and-release bail and house arrest for the most rampant reoffenders, policies that increased violent crime 50%, gun crime 116%, and hate crime by 250%. So given that Liberal MPs and leadership contenders unanimously supported everything Trudeau has done, why dump him now, right before an election? Have they had a change of heart? Is it because they feel guilty that they doubled housing costs, hiked taxes, unleashed crime, broke immigration, forced a quarter of the population into poverty? No. They continued supporting Trudeau when he did all of those things. No, their only objection is that he is no longer popular enough to win an election and keep them in power. They want to protect their pensions and paycheck by sweeping their hated leader under the rug months before an election to trick you and then do it all over again. Now, while leaderless Liberals focus on saving their jobs and fighting each other for power, the country spirals out of control, an out of control housing emergency, an out of control migrant crisis, an out of control $62 billion deficit, not to mention tariff threats from the United States. Oh, and another NDP Liberal carbon tax hike kicks in this April 1st. Everything's out of control. And now the government is out of control. This cannot go on. We need a carbon tax election now to choose between the NDP Liberal costly coalition that taxes your food, punishes your work, doubles your housing costs, and unleashes crime and drugs in your community, or common sense conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Canadians can take back control of their lives and their country, take back control of our border, take back control of immigration, take back control of spending, deficits, and inflation. Take back control of our streets by locking up criminals, banning drugs, treating addiction, and stopping gun smugglers. We'll cap spending, axe taxes, reward work, build homes, uphold family, stop crime, secure borders, rearm our forces, restore our freedom, and put Canada first, all with one mission: to bring home Canada's promise that every hardworking Canadian gets a powerful paycheck and pension that buys affordable food and homes on safe streets where all are united for the country we know and love. Canada first, Canada last, Canada always. Let's bring it home.
Right. Why dump him now? He's being dumped because he's unpopular. Now, that's the crux of that speech. Now, just to recap for our viewers, a short while ago, Justin Trudeau has resigned as the Prime Minister of Canada. He has also stepped down as the chief of the Liberal Party. He made that short speech in which he made that announcement about his resignation, he said that a countrywide elaborate process will now start for the election for electing a new leader. But he has discussed this matter with his family, and he has come to the conclusion that he has to step down, he has to resign. He said that parliament was paralyzed for some time now, and he has made that decision about resignation. Now, news about his resignation was already making rounds. There was speculation that he will resign. Some reports suggested that he will resign on Monday, that is today, and that's exactly what happened. He resigned and he stepped down. But he continues to be the caretaker prime minister. Now, he was very unpopular within his own party. There were many party colleagues who were saying that he did not command and control that respect in the party. He did not lead the party as he was expected to. There were many things that were being talked about, the immigration policy being at the forefront, that this was one of the biggest policy failures of Justin Trudeau. Also, his deflection of the domestic issues to the alleged Indian interference in Canada. He stood up in the parliament and said that agents of the government of India were responsible for killing Hardeep Nijjar, a Khalistani terrorist in Canada. And since then, he has continued to propagate that narrative. Some said that this was done to deflect his own failures at the domestic front. But all of that did not help in the end, and he did resign. Jagmeet Singh, one-time coalition partner, has also come out with a statement, and he has also said that it was time for Justin Trudeau to go. The big question is, will it help some sort of diffusion of tension between India and Canada, which has been at a high? The relationship between the two countries have dramatically dipped since September 2023, when Justin Trudeau stood up in the parliament and said that agents of the government of India were responsible for the killing of Hardeep Nijjar. Now, there were so many factors: economy, jobs, employment, all of those things had come together, and those factors were responsible. Everybody was, all the commentators were saying that Justin Trudeau has failed to deliver, and he is becoming very unpopular. And perhaps in a bid to revive the party, the Liberal Party, he stepped down. But will it help the Liberal Party to gain? That is the big question. Will his stepping down help in any way? What sort of a change will it will the politics in Canada see now, and how will this play out, not just locally but internationally? Canada has had strained relationship with many countries, and there's a lot of talk about the Chinese influence in Canada, that there were some members in the parliament who are actually acting as spies of Canada. So all of that in the background, in the context of this resignation. We will have to end our transmission, but before ending, would like our producer once again to play that speech in which Justin Trudeau announced his resignation.
And the fact is, despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralyzed for months after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history. That's why this morning I advised the Governor-General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process.
Justin Trudeau announcing his resignation. Clearly, an important development in Canada that will have implications, and it will be seen with interest not just by the people of Canada, but elsewhere also. That brings us to the end of our special transmission, but we'll keep a focus on this story. But for now, thanks so much for tuning in and for joining the Mojo story and for watching our special transmission. Thanks for joining. Good night.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.